Okay, so it looks like my video has failed to start, and I'm not sure how to get it to start. I'm going to try to unplug it first, see if it connects, but I might have to start the stream over, so let's try first things first. So that hasn't worked, so I'm going to leave and then come back. I'm going to pass the power over to Holly for a moment, make her a host, and then when I come back in, Holly, you can make me the host. Okay, so that appears to have worked, so I'll be there in just a minute. Okay, welcome everybody. Great to have you all here. I just made some last minute posts on chats and on Facebook. So hopefully we'll have a few more people straggle in. Great to see you here, Jennifer. Great to see you here, Mercedes. And Bettina. Good to see you coming in. It's got to be early morning where you're at, Bettina. And Anthea, welcome Anthea. Welcome Maureen. Welcome also to Cass, Holly, and Noelia. Thank you for coming to this session. So this is something that could, of course, bring value to all of you. It's possible you've heard some of it. So if you are able to think of anybody also that is new or newer that could be interested, feel free to reach out to them. You can give them this Zoom link directly. Okay. I did create a new PowerPoint, so at least you won't be too bored. So, as far as I can tell, most everybody here is familiar with me. My name is Paul Fletcher, and I'm one of the center leaders here at Dow Center Portland. And what we've been doing is a class to help people develop their intuitional foundations. Another way of putting that is to further develop your spiritual channels. And I've been teaching this 6-7 years now. So you learn a lot actually when you teach it. It's one of those things where the fastest way to learn is to teach something, even if you're not so good at it, and you naturally get much better at it just by the teaching of it. So I have gotten better at teaching in a lot of ways, and hopefully that will help you all here as well. The way that this course had normally been taught, because this is the first of a four-week course, 2 hours each week, was I would teach 4 different foundational energy centers and then people would have to get the whole course. But we did some recent format changes, and basically what I'm doing now is this first week is more of a setting the foundation so everybody can understand it. And you may have been to one of those before, but even that's changed. So hopefully you'll enjoy this presentation tonight. And as well, if you think of anybody that is new or newer that could benefit from this, or you've heard them say, wow, it'd be neat to be able to do that, then by all means consider sharing this with them. So I know most everybody here. Jennifer, she's one of our newer Downhand students. I'm glad to see you remaining active. Mercedes, I got to meet you a lot just recently. You were in our most recent series, the first of the series, and I know Mercedes, you are a newer student too. About what, a year almost? About a year right now? A little bit less? 4 months, that's it, okay. You're still very much on the learning curve, good. Letitia, thanks for turning your camera. It's always nice to see happy faces coming in from Hawaii, because the Chakra, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, miss the Chakra. Mala, I think you're coming in from India, if I'm not correct, and Bettina coming in from Germany. Anthea's from the East Coast, Florida. Maureen, I think you're California, is that right, Maureen? Or are you Washington? I forget. Maybe Vancouver. I'm pretty sure it's West Coast. At least I got that part right. Maybe I didn't. And Noelle is right here in Portland. Holly is one of our newest moderators. She's helping out with a lot of what we do here. So thank you, Holly, for being more proactive and assisting all of us to have a better experience. And then Cass. Cass is probably my longest term student when it comes to open spiritual channels. So I always enjoy having her. She helps put the lives up and puts up the emails. And then we have our newest master teacher, Howie. It's great to see Howie here. So this class will be setting a little bit of a larger foundation, a little bit wider swath than what I normally teach when I do this foundational first course. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to pop over to the PowerPoint. So this is to begin your intuitive mastery journey. And so everybody here knows a little bit about me, but I'll try not to bore you. I'll give you a little bit of information in case you don't. I am blessed to be one of the center leaders here at Dow Center Portland. And that happened kind of accidentally. I was asked to be a center leader, which in and of itself was just mind-numbing. I'm minding my own business, trying to make a living, you know, running a little side restaurant business at a farmer's market, and we're doing okay. We're trying to create a, you know, white picket fence future, and out of the blue I get a call from Master Shah's right-hand person, Master Cynthia, and it's I wouldn't say never, because in this case it was a good thing, but when you get a call from somebody at that level, you kind of worry. It's like, oh shit, what did I do wrong? Oh man, I must have done something not so good. So I was really on pins and needles. And so we set up a time to talk, and she said, you know, we'd like you to be a center leader, which is just like, you know, mind blown. So I was very, very honored for that opportunity. I was asked to go out to Belgium. So we packed up everything. If it didn't fit on a pallet, it didn't come with us. Sold whatever we could, and made the trip over there. And started setting up camp, brought the cat, set up a camp, and made some commitments with the knowingness that we have to do the work visa and all that. So initiated all the work visas and all that, and at the 9-day mark, when you have to leave, because you're still a visitor until work visa is approved, the work visa was still in process. So we had to pack our bags and fly back while all of our stuff and our cat was still in an apartment that had already been rented out for the next few months. And so then we had to really scramble. We took, it was like, okay, no big deal, you know, we'll just pack a few things. It's Hawaii, we're gonna just go back to Hawaii, hang out a little while. A little while turned to 8 months, and had to find a new home for our cat, and all of our stuff ended up in storage over there. Thank goodness we have good friends. They said, go into Portland. I said, okay, great, America, I can speak English, good. So don't have to pass any visas. Ended up in Portland, and that was about 2 years ago. So I'm very blessed to be up here working with Dr. Rulin Shu and Portia Ng. Two amazing souls, beautiful souls, big hearts. Heaven has a sense of humor. They're like, Paul's heart's not open enough. Let's put him with two of the biggest opening heart people on the planet. Yeah, a lot of purification there. So here I am, and we're looking around for what can each central leader do. What's their skill set? Rulin is Tao Science and Divine Love. Portia is Divine Love, and her channels are open. And I had taught this class for a while, so I said, "Oh, you go do open spiritual channels." Here I am. So that's a little bit of how I ended up at Tao Center Portland. Now, I am considered a master teacher of the Tao Academy, and basically all that means is I know more than the average Joe specific to this subject matter. So if ever you hear the word master, that's all it really means, is it's somebody who is skilled in that specific arena. It's nothing more, no ego involved. A little back history on my spiritual journey, so that because I do a lot of teaching based on experience, and exactly Master Sha's teaching. But when you flavor it with experience, it's like I can make food from a cookbook, but it doesn't mean it's going to taste good. If you put in the right amount of everything and then just give it that certain amount of love, it tastes a whole lot better. So experience really helps. You can read all Master Sha books all you want, but the experience adds the flavor and makes it where you can really enjoy the value of the information that's coming. So in terms of a spiritual journey, started when I was about 22. Somebody said, you should go talk to my teacher, and I was asking him some question that was not too highly spiritually involved, but she said, go talk to my teacher. Okay, and I go and meet this big round guy with a long gray beard, and he hands me a book that says Ageless Wisdom. I said, wow, that sounds kind of cool, Ageless Wisdom. And I read all the stuff in there and ended up going to the university that he had legally started in Scottsdale, Arizona, a 4-year theosophical university, and it basically taught all the belief systems and all the connections and all the belief systems. He also, there's not a lot of students, I think there was like 8 of us in my class, but in the little more advanced stages of that 4-year seminary university, we would do things that are aligned to what I'm teaching you now. We would have one of the students, there was always one different student, had that morning, they needed to take a piece of paper, draw something simple, like a circle with a triangle in it. Something simple, right? And then the other 7 had to wake up at the same time and tune in and meditate and see what they received. So we were attuning to our channels. And to me it was kind of cool because I didn't think I would ever get any of it right, but I actually got 2 of them right out of, like 20 tries. And almost every time people got, at least 1 or 2 people of us got it right. And that was just shocked to me. So that was kind of the beginning of the learning phases of opening spiritual channels. Stumbled along for about 8-10 years. Ended up moving up to Sedona, Arizona from Phoenix with the woman who was involved with Ageless Wisdom teachings. And that led me to Dawn Yoga, Korean yoga, which on the surface doesn't have anything to do with spirituality, but I came to learn that the person that founded that was actually an enlightened master. He had trained in all the martial arts and all that, and the story goes with him very briefly that at a young age, one of his friends died while they were swimming across the lake, and he couldn't save his friend, and it crushed him, and he always wondered what the meaning to life was. So at an early age, he was busy yelling at God and said, I'm just going to sit here until something happens. Either I'm going to die or I'm going to figure out what life's all about. And he was doing this on top of a mountain. And he didn't die, good news. And after 21 days, no food, no water, other than there was some lady that found him. They gave him like a little bit of stuff. Then, his whole body got hot and he became enlightened. And that was his story. But, when I'm listening to that, I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting, but it didn't really sink, but I understood it. And when I went to become a master in his structure, which they have 300 healing centers there, and you're learning to teach people how to basically to relax. It wasn't normal yoga. It was a different kind of stretching and energy yoga. But the thing that I learned most about that not about that organization, in that organization, is that there are different ways to awaken people's energy bodies. That's the thing I learned most. This teacher taught people in that organization how to awaken to feel energy coursing through their whole body, taught his master teachers how to feel energy on people's bodies and diagnose, and how to move people's energies. There were certain practices that he used that helped people move the energies physically. They did a lot of body work in that was unique and different than I'd ever done. And we would in the master training, we would hold postures, and very strange postures. You would have to put your hands out in front of your chest like this with your arms out, and you'd have to hold it there 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And you're like, your whole body's doing this after 30 minutes, and your sweat's pouring down, and you're out there an hour. It was intense. And you would do those kinds of things on different parts of your body. And what this teacher did was he would teach us how to open our chakras and energy centers that way, moving the chi. Fast forward a couple years, I met a Chinese master, female, and I experienced two unique things. I'm not going to go too much into that story right now, but I'll tell you shortly that those two unique things very clearly, for the first time in my life, there was an unequivocal knowingness that the source exists, and there was an unequivocal knowingness that there are people out there connected to that source that can do things to me without touching me, that can make me have experiences without touching me. And I wasn't the only one. I'm like 6-7 feet away, and I'm experiencing physical things that were intangible, very tangible, but my eyes open, and they're sitting over there with their eyes closed meditating, and I'm feeling extraordinary physical shift. Not like, a little bit of wave on your hair stuff. I'm talking like, major physical, oh my God, what's happening to my body shift. And that happened twice on a 3-day weekend with this female Chinese Qigong master. And again, if I had more time, I would go into great detail. It's interesting, but a good half of you have already heard it, if not more. But I can tell you after that weekend, I was very clear that I was an absolute novice, an absolute child when it came to understanding the spirit world, soul, energy movement, source, all of that. I thought I knew a few things, but after that weekend, I was like, man, I am at the very beginning of birth here in this understanding process. So I trained with that female Chinese master for a couple of years. And she basically didn't teach me anything physically. She might have transferred some stuff spiritually, but she had very little English, and she taught through Qigong practices. You basically listened to 2 hour-long CDs and did 8 specific Qigong movements. And that was it. And so I spent about 3 years with her, and then came across this teacher, Dr. Master Sha, who I believe everybody here knows who he is. What intrigued me most about coming across Dr. Master Sha was his willingness and freeness to express very, very high level information. It just shocked me. He was giving freely the highest level information, and the things that he was saying validated against my 40 plus years of things that I had learned out there, so that was good. And the verbiage that I've come to use is like in that 40 plus years, I had found all kinds of quilt pieces. I had all these wonderful quilt pieces of life, that this is how this works, and this is how this works, and this is, all the things you gather when you're in the spiritual journey, the tarot cards and the crystals and the herbs and the light and the chakras and every little piece of information you ever have, and all the learning you've ever done, all the book circles you've ever done, and all the mantra chanting and going to the teepees, everything. We've all done versions of that. And all of that was wonderful, but it didn't all make sense individually. This teacher gave me the string and the thread and the needle, and he helped me to sew it all together. And all of a sudden, I had an actual quilt with all the wisdom that I'd been earning for those 45 plus years. And to me, that was nothing short of astounding, because it all made sense finally. I was no longer lost, so to speak. Somebody was finally saying, this is how A connects to B and B connects to C. So when I came across this wisdom, one of the first classes that I took was this one. I'd learned how to become a healer. I'd received the first level of healing, and at the same time, I'd signed up for a 1-year course of the Certified Soul Communication course. And that was I forget, it was like 13 years ago, but it was at least 3 classes a week, 2 hours each time on the phone. So it was pretty intense. And what did we do? We did 45 minutes of specific practices to boost our energy, foundation energy centers. We'll talk about that today. And that was just the boosting. That was even before we practiced. That was before we started to see if we could talk to anyone, our soul or the source or anything like that. We were just doing practice to boost our energy centers. So that was the old school way, and that was very, very powerful. So by the time I had went through that 1-year course, I had got to the point where I trusted that I could receive a message and speak what I was hearing, but I really wasn't clear if it was me or my mind or I was still unclear even after a whole year. In teaching this course to any of those that are interested, one thing that does happen, and it's not a year course, is that you will clearly know if it's you or if it's not you, and if it's accurate or not accurate, and the percentage of accuracy, and you'll be able to discern many different ways in which it's a value to you. So in stating all that foundation, that has allowed me to be a presenter that is able to cover things that might not be normally experienced because of all of those previous experiences. I'm able to put in a lot of seasoning. So let's pop back now to the presentation. And so this is the intuitive mastery, and it begins with understanding the nature of the soul. This is so very important, because in order to master your intuitive journey, you must understand the nature of your soul and your soul's purpose, your soul's power and significance. Because you are a soul and you're having a physical experience. And so many people, they come into this world and we spend the first 20 to 40, sometimes 50 or more years dealing with life as if there was really no other soul. I mean, we talk to God or source or whatever name you use it by, but we rarely hear the answers back. So it's like a one-way conversation for the vast majority of us. And because of that one-way conversation, no one really goes outside of this third-dimensional experience. We spend the vast amount of our time dealing with problems, dealing with relationships, dealing with money, getting the white picket fence and the house and the car, the cat, and then that relationship didn't work. So now we're working with a different relationship, and we work overtime to make sure we don't have the mistakes in this one that we had with that one, right? And invariably we do, because we don't have the spiritual wisdom. So now we screwed up 2 relationships, and we're still trying to figure out life. Right around age 30, 40, 50, a few light bulbs come on and we start going, maybe I should pay attention to the spiritual side of things. This is pretty normal for a lot of humanity. The solution is the soul. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is where every issue in your life can be resolved if we just recognize that we are a soul having a physical experience. This is really everything. The entire course that I teach, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 weeks. You'll hear me mention that multiple times today. But each of the first 4 weeks, the next 8 weeks, and the final 4 weeks, they all hinge on the exact same foundation point, which is soul. Because if you can grasp that you are a soul having a physical experience, that intuition is your soul. A lot of us, what is intuition? I just don't know, it just comes, and I trust my intuition. Why? It's your soul, dummy. because soul knows everything. It's been around a long, long time. Master Sha's newest book, some of you might know it, some of you might not. It's called Tao Calligraphy, to Heal and Rejuvenate Your Back. I just started doing a live stream series on it. Come to watch on Facebook. It's fun. And I'm just reading a few pages and then expanding on it. And so it'll take me a while to go through the book. But it's helping me to get a much deeper understanding of Master Sha's wisdom and teaching. And one of the things that is really core and key, and he says it right in there in the first probably 10, 15 pages, is that when we die, the soul leaves and keeps going. And with it, with your soul, goes all of the experiences. All the negative, all the positive, everything we ever thought, everything we ever spoken, everything we ever done goes with it. So then when we come into this life experience, guess what? It's still there. Okay? So know unequivocally that to open your spiritual channels is all about communication with your soul and the soul world. And we're going to talk about why that's important. We're going to talk about why that's relevant. Let me clear my throat here a moment. So there's something called flow. Flow is something I experienced when I was with Master Sha for the very first time. And this is 13 or so years ago. I saw this larger-than-life person saying, you know, come to my soul enlightenment retreat. You know, and at that time I'm like, soul enlightenment? Really? Somebody actually knows what that is? You know, it just seems so distant and so fake almost to me. Like, it's just, you know, it wasn't really woo-woo stuff. It's just like, yeah, you pretty much got to hang up life and go live with a guru in China or India for the next 30 years if you're going to reach enlightenment. So it just seemed way distant. And he was talking about a soul enlightenment retreat. So I went to this retreat just because this teacher was so intriguing. He had so many nuggets of wisdom, and he was just a very intriguing teacher. But, you know, I, of course, knew more than everybody at that time, so my arms were crossed, and, you know, my eyebrow was raised, and I was judging everything that I was watching and listening to. And I watched this teacher over the course of the week release so many wonderful, amazing sharings and wisdoms and teachings and how to heal and all kinds of wonderful stuff, doing many, many healings. And whenever he did a healing, he would ask his top teachers, there's like 10 of them, to do a flow and to do third eye readings, open spiritual channels. And that was the first time after 45 years where I had witnessed authenticity when it comes to those things. Where there was just, you know, even my monkey mind was still questioning, but when I saw it so many times, it's like, wow, is this real? This is pretty amazing, but it's real. I mean, I was really struggling to both accept it and it was hard to deny because it happened with such clarity. So what I saw was somebody would get a healing, and then Master Sha would talk to one of his teachers. He'd say, okay, do a soul reading. What happened with this healing for this person's back? The back pain's gone. They've had it 20 years. What happened? And they would go like this. They would put their hands in a position, and they would connect to the records of heaven, and then they would speak whatever they were hearing, I guess. I didn't really understand it at that time. But the information that was coming out was intriguing. It was like, wow, how interesting. How do they know this, right? So I wanted to know, how did they know that? It's called flow. How did they do that? And then he would ask another teacher, what did you see with your spiritual eye? And he would ask 2 or 3 teachers. And this teacher would see something entirely different than this teacher. And then the third teacher would see something entirely different than the other 2. And I'm like, well, which one is lying? Because this is my mind, right? Which one's not telling the truth here? Because obviously they would all 3 see the same thing, right? This is my thinking, my understanding at that point in time. And what I've come to understand is that each person, each one of you is very unique and very different. Each one of you has a very unique set of qualities and characteristics and intuitions. You have your own level of spiritual channel awakening and knowingness. You've done this rodeo before, or you probably wouldn't be here. And each one of you have a different level of skill set. You all may have at some point in time before, assuming you believe in other than this life, you may have all been a Buddhist monk, or a nun, or a seer, or a gypsy. You know, you could have had qualities and attributes that gave you the ability to connect and hear messages, or that gave you the ability to see, right? So what I've come to understand is that everybody's ability to hear well messages or see well messages from the source is dependent upon the purity of their channels, the purity of their soul, their vessel, okay? I can already hear some people going, oh, well, I guess that rules me out. I'm never going to have open spiritual channels. Congratulations, you will. Hang in there. So all three of those people that were offering third eye readings, heaven knew that this one could receive a best message this way, and this one would receive a different message this way. In other words, they gave all three a different message so that when all three gave what they saw, everybody listening could go, oh, well, that makes more sense. Oh, well, that makes even more sense. It kind of like, you know, showing you all the different sides of the elephant. Because if you're just touching the tail, you don't know what the elephant is. If you're just touching the trunk, you don't know what the elephant is. But when you go all the way around it, now you know what the elephant is. So, but this is how my monkey mind works. I'm like, oh, well, who's lying, right? So, and then you hear flows. What's a flow? A flow is when they hear a message from the source or hear a message from another soul. That used to be called, at least what I've heard it called, is channeling. And it kind of freaked me out, to be perfectly frank. You know, when I was 20, 25, 30, I was like, ooh, channeling, I'm staying far away from that. You know, that's like connecting to some other side that I don't know about, so you stay there and I'll stay here. And, but what I've come to understand with time, as most of you probably are, is that everyone and everything has a soul, and that the soul world, you know, especially those equal and above, is very benevolent. Always trying to support us and always trying to serve us. So when you are oriented towards serving, when you're oriented towards light, when you're oriented towards doing the right thing, then that's what you connect with. So when you do flow, you can receive messages. Now, the reason I brought this up is because I'm going to do a flow now. And the reason I'm going to do a flow is not to show off. The purpose is so to let you know that every single one of you can do this. When I started, zero ability, none, below none. But I learned, and you can learn. And it doesn't take near as long nowadays. I won't go into too much explanation, but what I can tell you is the majority of humanity and the majority of people here, our frequencies continue to increase. And what that does is it allows us to be able to navigate the realignment to our highest, our highest and best version of ourselves, aligned to our soul, much faster than 13 years ago. Master Shah says this all the time. We can do things much faster than we did 13 years ago. And it's true. But that's a different topic for a different time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask heaven for a message specific to this class and specific to the value of this for you as a collective. And my encouragement, if you're not familiar with flow, is to just open your heart and listen with your heart. Okay? So relax, close your eyes, and listen to this message. When I speak, most of you know, but some of you might be new. When I speak, this is not my mind. This is just the words that I'm hearing, and I'm speaking them out. How? This is the soul of this intuitive mastery course. I have been serving many through this teacher, Paul. I am a soul. I am a course, but I am a soul. This means that I serve a purpose as Master Sha has taught, every soul serves. My goal is to assist each of you to realign to all that you have already known. When you incarnate, you know almost everything, even what is being said now. But there is a process wherein you grow into this life, having forgot most of what has been learned, purposefully I might add, so that you do not regurgitate what you already know, so that you can learn new things. Much of you have accomplished that, and you will all probably agree that it has been painful at times. And what I wish each of you to most know,
You can stop the record.
and what I wish each of you to know at this time, is that your heart is the key. In opening your heart, you open your spiritual channels. In opening your heart, you heal all of the pain that you hold on to, the silent pain that some have not mentioned to anyone. In opening your heart, you allow all that you already are back in. From birth to now, the vast majority of humanity and all of you, your hearts, have experienced many traumas and sufferings and experiences, both good and not so pleasant. And for protection purposes, you have repositioned them in certain places in your vessel. Your ability to return to the source, your ability to realign to your soul, to your highest potential, has to do with releasing the pains, the griefs, and the traumas from your heart. When you keep this in mind, when you do the practices, the steps, and all that the one known as Master Sha has taught, there is a natural, healthy, pleasant release of those traumas, those experiences, those life-stopping events. And the natural side effect is wellness. The natural side effect is happiness. And, of course, clear information from your soul and the soul world. There are many standing in line to help each of you to grow, to become your highest self. And all truly that is needed is willingness and the desire to do the steps that have been placed before you. So I invite you all to move towards your intuitive mastery journey, to become the highest version of yourself, to release the suffering that truly is not serving you, to open your heart to your highest potential. I am here. My job is to serve. Thank you for this opportunity to share this message. This is the soul of the Intuitive Mastery Journey course. So, that's an interesting message, right? Most people think of hearing a message from an individual soul whose name you know, right? This came from a course, the soul of a course. Just saying that out loud is a bit unusual. But one of the things that's truly important to understand about opening the spiritual channels and about the wisdom that Master Sha shares is that every soul is here to serve, and everything has a soul. This is taught in great depth in the intermediate 8-week course, first class, Because in order to start communicating with your soul and your heaven's teams, guides, angels, and saints, in order to start communicating with the source, you have to realize that everything has a soul and everything is trying to serve us. And when you realize that, then your mind is not blocked by, where is this information coming from? I did not know when I checked in with the flow, who was going to talk, so to speak. I kind of assumed the source would come in and talk. But clearly that wasn't the case. This soul came in, and because I practiced for a while, I was able to discern who this soul was, and that was the message. Soul of the Course had a message. So this is what's called flow, and this is something that can be learned by everybody here. Anybody here can do this. Takes a little time, yes, not 13 years, guarantee you that. I have done this course. There's several people here, probably about 8 people here, that have completed at least the intermediate and sometimes the advanced version, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 weeks. And, they can tell you their ability to flow is either now they have it or it's much better than it was. Okay? And there's a lot of people that didn't have it at all. Now they have it. And this is not because I'm any good at this. It's because it's always been there. But you have to be able to find it and coerce it and loosen the knots that keep it from unfolding and finding its beautiful flowering. And that's, what Master Sha has trained us to be good at doing. So, regarding that flow, or regarding anything you've heard so far, happy for you to open the line and do any sharing before I pop back into the PowerPoint. I'm so happy to see new folks popping in here. And welcome Sonalika, welcome Mithyam, welcome also Minakash, welcome Naveen, welcome Janak, Sylvia, Santicha, Interjeet, welcome Benita. Thank you, Benita, for gathering all these folks. Any sharing you're welcome to, otherwise I'll just keep on going. Okay. So, intuitive mastery is mastering soul communication. We all have intuition. But to be able to master it is to master soul communication. So there are some sacred secrets to understand about the soul. These are just some tidbits. This is like maybe 20% of what you get in the course. First and foremost, the divine creator is the original soul. It doesn't matter what name you have, universal, light, source, oneness, creator, God, Buddha, Allah, whatever name is comfortable to you, great. Keep it, please. Here, we'll use divine creator as original soul. Everyone and everything originates from that original creator. Pretty much everyone can agree with these. I try to make sure that everyone has no resistance to this information. Creator is all energy and all matter. And all energy and matter is soul. All energy and matter is soul. Energy and matter is soul, meaning that all energy and all matter are pieces of the Creator. They're just in smaller increments. So, Tao science and all science would say that there's the dark matter, right? Master Sha talks about, in his advanced teachings, he talks about how in the beginning there was the clean and dirty chi intermixed like a big fog. And then at some point in time, billions of years ago, something happened and the clean chi rises, forms heaven, the dirty chi falls, forms earth. Another teaching for another time. But what's the point? The point is that clean and dirty chi intermixed is still energy and matter from original source. So no matter what it forms, whether it's a physical person like you and me, or a sand. What is sand? Sand is sand, right? Sand is ground up rock. But what is glass? Well, glass is sand that's been rubbed real fast. It becomes glass. It becomes silica. It becomes glass. So what is plastic? Plastic is energy and matter that's formed out of oil. Where does the oil come from? You can go in deeper and deeper and deeper. It still all comes from energy and matter. Where does energy and matter come from? Source. So does all energy and matter have source in it? Yes or no? Yes. So one could say everything has soul because source is original soul. Now the secret is that every soul is here to serve. So everything has creator source in it, and everything is here to serve. So when you start to grasp this and you start to really go deeper on the nature of soul, then you can start to appreciate the value of soul communication. Because soul communication does not stop with human-to-human communication. Not in the way that we're taught anyway. You can communicate with anything. And you just saw an example of that. So when energy and matter form an object or a person or a planet or a galaxy, source is within it. Therefore, everyone and everything has a soul. Your chair has a soul. You have a soul. Your house has a soul. Everything originates and contains source. Therefore, everyone and everything has a soul. Maybe I have to get a new mouse. It's getting a little finicky here. I'll give you a few examples. One of the students was in this course actually. It was about probably about a month or two ago. It was in Mexico, and she was having trouble selling her house. Beautiful house. No reason it shouldn't sell. Price was right. And so she booked a private consult, and she asked me why. So, I don't know. And the way I teach the students is, as I teach them everything as a soul, I'm setting the foundation for you. Most people would say, dear the soul, or dear heaven, can you please tell me why? Nothing wrong with that. You might get a perfect answer. What I've come to understand is that if everything has a soul, then everything can help to give me an answer, huh? So I say, dear the soul of the house, the soul of why it's not selling, the soul of any additional information, any financial things that we're not aware of, the soul of the land. The land has been there for 4 billion years, right? Maybe something happened in the land. We don't know. I invited all the souls, silently, to come. I said, could you please tell me what's going on? And then I just waited. And when I started hearing words, soul of the house came. Soul of the house came and it said, I'm very sad. You're the first person who's actually taking care of me. Nobody else took care of me. You love me. You've dressed me up. You made me look good. And now you want to leave me? Soul of the house was not happy. So it turns out that it didn't want her to leave. That's why the house wasn't selling. Isn't that curious? So it's one of those unique things when you crack open your mind, everything has a soul. Really? The soul of the house has a personality and it doesn't want to sell? Come on. Come on. Right? But you know what? The more you do this, the more you realize, yes, it's absolutely a possibility. So what did I share with her? I shared Master Sha's wisdom. I said, you need to have a conversation with your house. Call your soul of your house. Tell it how much you love it. Tell it that you won't let anybody that's, not going to take care of it like you buy it. And mean it. And give it love. And ask forgiveness. Everything's worked out. So that's just one example of soul communication. So soul communication can be used for so many things. So many things. There are so many times when I'm talking to people and they'll ask me a question. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. It's like, let's ask. And I just, okay. And I just, wait and trust the answer and speak it out. And we're both always shocked. We're like, oh my God, that's so right. And again, this is not about me. I'm just trying to show you that this is what's possible. I was doing a flow the other day with a dentist. And she asked me about how she can grow her business. And I didn't know what the answer is. I'm not a dentist. I just tuned in, asked, started speaking some answers. At the end of it, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe that. That was like everything that I've been thinking about doing but was not really sure about, and you just spoke it all out one by one by one. You just validated it all. And she was so happy that the soul of her business came, which is curious because I invite all these souls. The soul of her business came. and said, do this, do this, do this, do this. And she started implementing it and already starting to see a little success. So why am I putting this in this very beginning of this course? Why am I talking so much about soul? Because if you get that one piece of information, every single part of your life can and will improve. And your ability to hear or see with your third eye clear messages will start to improve. And the value in that is very important because it will start increasing your health and wellness and many things. We'll cover that in a few minutes. I've got to kind of stay with my little PowerPoint here or I'll get ahead of myself. Okay, so let's talk about the soul a little bit more. What is the soul? Well, according to Master Sha in this little book you see in the corner, if you don't have that book, by the way, go purchase it. It's an amazing book called The Power of Soul. And the source, Master Sha is talking to the source, said, what is the soul? It's a golden light being. Okay, that sounds cool. My soul's a golden light being. I can resonate with that. Good. I'm okay with that. But this pen, this is a golden light being? Come on, it's a pen. It's made of plastic. You're telling me this is the same as me? Well, the answer is yes. Maybe a little smaller. Maybe not the same level of consciousness. But is it from the source? Yes or no? Is it made of the same energy and matter of the source? Yes or no? Matter of fact, it's probably made up of 100 million trillion pieces of energy and matter, every which one having a little golden light being aspect to it. How about that? So start thinking outside the box. Everything has a source within it. It's trying to serve us. Body soul is in charge. This is some information that might be interesting for a lot of people. The body soul is your body soul. So it's in charge of your body. What does that mean? Well, it's in charge of your heart. It's in charge of your brain. Your body soul is in charge of your big toe. Okay? Why is that relevant? Because soul is the boss. You see, in Master Sha's wisdom and teaching, when you heal things at the level of soul, everything else will transform. It's no different with opening your spiritual channels. Why do you think some people can see clearly or hear messages clearly, but others cannot? Because there's blockages at the level of soul. Heal the soul first, or heal the blockages at the level of soul, and everything else will transform. So soul is the boss, and it is the boss of your heart, of your energy centers, everything. Your soul actually has its own innate consciousness, intelligence, likes, and dislikes. Somebody asked me that this morning or yesterday. It was a newer student, been about a year, very, very mental-based person. Sort of gets us, but sort of doesn't. And she just kind of tiptoes in, just a little bit of time. She tiptoes in, and she asked me on an email the other day. She said, so does a soul have a personality? That was her question. And I said, according to Master Sha, the answer is yes. He says, because the soul, lives a long time, had many different experiences, could have played piano, could have, played many different instruments. And a soul has characteristics, certain things that it prefers and doesn't prefer. So this is important to understand as well about your soul. A soul has emotions, really. I know personalities have emotions. Did you know souls have emotions? Apparently the answer is yes. So let's give you an example. Do you think your soul would be happy or sad if you made a choice to go start doing heavy-duty drugs? Probably not going to be happy, right? Because it's going to negatively impact your soul's journey in the long term. Your soul has an intention, it has a plan, it knows what it wants to accomplish in this life experience. And so it can become sad and disappointed if you, at the personality level, start making choices that are out of alignment with what it knows is highest and best for you and its journey. And you'll start to hear me talk in kind of a sense-round form. Your soul and you are intertwined It's separate from you, but it is you. You are it, but it's not really you. It carries all of your stuff, and you carry its stuff, and your actions affect it, and its actions affect you, but we run through life completely ignorant of it, for the most part. We run through life, just dealing with this trauma and that issue and that bill and all of these problems one after the other, completely oblivious of our soul, but it is completely affected by all of our thoughts, words, and actions. And believe it or not, we are by it. Master Shah teaches that your soul will actually block you. You might really want to go move to that state because you think that's the ideal job, and your soul could block it because it knows that that's not going to be the best for you for whatever reason. Some of you can probably think of times when no matter what I do, I just can't seem to move forward. Very well could be that your soul is blocking you. Certainly is a possibility. So this is where soul communication comes in, because if you actually start acknowledging your soul, communicating with your soul, giving love to your soul, honor, respecting your soul. This is the stuff that we teach. How do you honor and respect your soul? A couple different ways. But a good way is to just start by communicating. Hi, my soul, I love you. I'd be happy to receive a message from you today. Anything that you want to share with me that would make our day better. And you listen. You might hear nothing. You might hear a few words. You might hear a sentence. Depends on a little bit more practice on opening your channels. But when you start doing that, you start blending, you start melding, you start becoming one with your soul. And what does that translate to? That translates to less problems, more alignment. Turn left, not right. That creates problems from happening. Okay? So soul communication will help you in every aspect of your life, just on the soul to soul, you and your soul level. Not to mention the other examples I've been giving you of other souls. So souls have an amazing, an incredible wisdom, great memory. You've ever walked into a room and I don't know what it is about that person, but I just like them. Something about them. And you go and you talk to them and there's this camaraderie and just, I feel like I know you. That's because you probably have. Your soul remembers that person. They have great memories. Same thing for when you walk in and just, that person's like sandpaper on an open wound. I never met that person, but I don't want to be near them. Your soul remembers. Maybe they harmed you. Okay? So your soul knows this stuff. And you think it's all intuition. Until you come to a class like this, it's intuition. No, it's your soul talking. So souls have a great flexibility to adjust. They can communicate with us and communicate with other souls. This is fun, actually. You might not know this, but you could be hanging out at a coffee shop, and your soul could be talking to that person over there. Think about that. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Long time no see. Yeah, I'm over here with this guy, and yeah, he's doing okay. Yeah. And they're having a conversation. Yeah, maybe I'll see you in a few months from now. Right? Maybe they will. You never know. The souls communicate all the time. And this is something that we need to learn about. Not going too far down this road, but when you truly grasp the nature of soul, today I had a conversation with the person I've probably known about 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. And she listens to me, thank goodness, and she'll apply what I suggest, but she doesn't really get it too much. She trusts it because it's worked for her, but she doesn't really get it. And what she said was, we need to create a little business. We have two of us, we need a third, and it's a nonprofit. We need to get the right third person. We can't seem to find them. What do I do? I said, you need to do soul communication. Okay, what's that? You need to call the souls of everyone that might be highest and best for this job and have a conversation with them. What does that mean? It means as if you picked up the phone and you called 100 people and brought them into your room and you start talking to them, except you're talking to them at the level of soul. Now that sounds foreign to a lot of people. That might make a few people just say, okay, good talking to you, Paul, bye-bye. But soul communication has been written by Master Shah over 15 years ago, wrote a book on it. Go pick it up, it's a great book. And what he teaches in there is that you can solve almost any problem through soul communication. what do you think we're teaching in this course? And I said to her, call all of the souls of everyone who could be ideal for this role and tell them what you want in this role. I said, your soul communication needs to be win-win. You need to ask forgiveness in case you've had any miscommunications at any point in time. You need to offer forgiveness in case anybody miscommunicated with you. And you just tell them what you want. And then I told her, I said, oh, by the way, you can use this with your roommate, you know, the cantankerous one you have issues with. You can, instead of going and try to resolve this at the human-to-human level, I said, you just go into the bedroom. You ask their soul to come. You talk to their soul. There's no disagreement. There's no argument. And you offer love. And you offer forgiveness. And you tell them what you want to accomplish. And you do it in a win-win scenario. And I say, and then when you leave the room, walk out of the room and you watch. They'll probably be kind to you. You'll get things the way you want it. You didn't even have to open your mouth. What's the deeper wisdom? Everything can be transformed at the level of soul. Soul communication is dealing with things at the level of soul. Hearing messages, receiving third eye, resolving life issues. How do you think this healing works, the Tao healing? The healing works at the level of soul. You've heard that before. Almost everybody here has heard, heal the soul first and everything else will follow. Really understand that this wisdom that this teacher has brought will change the face of humanity once they wake up to the same wisdom I'm sharing with you here. This is a little advanced. I'm giving you all, a little bit advanced pieces of sliced pie because you can handle it. But humanity, when they start to realize that we've all been living in this personality-based world and fighting and bickering and arguing, when we could be just simply loving each other, it sure be a whole lot easier. But we're still going through, the process of waking up that we're a soul having a physical experience. So when you attend a course like this, it's not just, how do I talk to God? No, it's not. This is about how can I open up every part of my life to realize why I'm here, and how can I get the toolkit to resolve the different problem areas in my life. And you'll get them little by little. And it might not seem so straightforward like that, which is why this course is here. That's why this first class is here, so that you know where you're going. 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 weeks. This is the whole blueprint in the bigger picture. You start out and we'll say, okay, focus on the lower Dantian energies. Oh, I done that. Been there, done that. Yeah, I got one of those light bulbs. I'm good. Good to go. Yeah. Yeah. Or Kundalini. Yeah. No, I know about the Kundalini. I took a yoga class. Good. Or maybe I talk about heart chakra. Yeah, I got somebody waved a crystal heart. It was pink quartz, and they waved it over my heart. My heart chakra's clear. I'm good to go. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about these energy centers. I'm going to talk about the third eye. I'm going to talk about the chakras, and each one, through these many different things to talk about. And you will think you know what I'm talking about because you've heard of chakras and you've heard of these energy centers. But do you really know where I'm headed by sharing all that information to you? Where I'm headed is to clear all of this crud that's been in your path this whole life, so that you can really be aligned to your soul, really have a much happier, healthier pathway. That's where we're headed. Because when you work in the chakras, when you work on the energy centers, what are you doing? You're clearing the negative information in your field. We are a soul having a physical experience. What's Master Sha's teaching? Your soul is the content of information. Your soul is the carrier of all the positive and negative thoughts you've ever held in all time. So we walk around with this baggage of positive and negative. I look at it like suitcases. In this suitcase, I have all my positive. In this suitcase, I have all my negative. And I carry it into the coffee shop, and I carry it to bed, and I carry my suitcases with me wherever I go. Right? And how can I diminish this negative and add more positive? I need to clear the crud in my field. So when you learn to practice with the energy centers, you're clearing the crud in your field. When you open your chakras, learn to practice, you're clearing the crud in your field. What does that allow you to do? Well, it'll improve your health. It'll improve your finances. It will improve your spiritual channels. Why? Because we are a soul having a physical experience. We are 99.999% space, soul, 0.01% matter. 0.01% matter. You are 0.01% matter. You might seem solid, but you're not. You are definitely 99.9% space. All I got to do is stick you under a microscope. You can prove it. And in that space is what? Your soul. And in that space of your soul is chakra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All these different energy centers, third eye, all that is in the space. Not in the matter, it's in the space. So what am I doing? Week 4, week 8, week 4. What am I doing? I'm teaching you how to clear all that space. Because it's what's in the space that affects the matter. Really think about that for a minute. It's what's in the space that affects the matter. Your soul has all this stuff in the space, positive, negative suitcases. But it's affecting your ability to hear clearly. It's affecting your ability to attract money. It's affecting your ability to have that healthy relationship. And it's affecting your ability to have a conversation with your soul. So you're really accomplishing all of that. Even though I might be saying, chant for the lower dantian, Joe, 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 Joe. And you're like, oh man, this is kind of boring. 15 minutes of chanting Joe, Joe, Joe. Why am I doing this? That's why you're doing it. So let's pop back into I get off on a little tangent there. Pop back into here. Okay. What else we got? Souls can help you prevent sickness or rejuvenation. Souls can help you to clear your own blockages. Souls have incomprehensible power. Think about it. Incomprehensible. Look at Master Sha. Now, granted, he's a pretty special human, but he's still a human, right? He still's got to go to the bathroom. He's still, he's still a human. And yet, look at the power that's coming through him. You have the ability to have the same powers. We have the Tao hands. Majority of people here have Tao hands. Some people do not. One day you have no power. Next day somebody that receives, a soul receives the authority to transmit a light ball. Like myself, I have zero power. I meet Master Sha, and he gives me healing power. And then one day he says, be a center later. And he says, oh, by the way, go make people Tao hands healers. So you and I get together for 8 hours, and I say, transmission. And instantly you can put your hand up and heal somebody. That's just hard to imagine. In what world does that really happen? This is not, it's just, really? That's the potential of a soul. Every soul comes from the source. So your soul can be elevated. Its frequency can be elevated. Its healing power and its ability to heal others, all of that can be elevated. This is the nature of the power of your soul. It is on its way to enlightenment. I cover enlightenment in good detail in this course. You'll have an understanding of enlightenment like you've never had before when you come to this course. So that helps you to really, the entire course is really designed to help you to awaken awaken from sleep, really, because almost all of us have been so asleep from our potential, from what we're capable of accomplishing, from what we're capable of fixing and resolving. When we put so much outside of us, it's their fault, it's this fault, it's this, we don't take responsibilities. When you start dealing with things at the level of soul, you move back into a space of responsibility and fix it permanently. Because when you die, your soul goes on, and it's going to carry all the crud you didn't fix. And the suffering you've had this life, and guess what? It's coming back around. So if you want to do it again, hey, keep going. But if you'd like to be clear of a lot of it, be happier and healthier, this is a good path to stay on. Your soul is constantly searching for knowledge, but not book knowledge. It's searching for heart wisdom. It's searching for the wisdom that helps it to realign to the oneness from which it originated from. So your soul is always in search of that. Really important to keep in mind the nature of your soul. Now your soul's there's inner souls and outer souls. And again, many of you know this. But what does that mean? Inner souls and outer souls. Well, we've already discussed that all energy and all matter has a soul. So that means your knee has a soul. That's called an inner soul. Your brain has a soul. Inner souls. Outer souls. Outer souls are, the source, divine Tao, Buddhas, Krishna, all of the beings outside of us, basically. Planet, Earth, outer souls. Soul communication. I touched on it a little earlier. Might sound like I'm going off on a tangent, but hang in there with me. There are people that go to get chemotherapy, right? And that's fine, that's what they want to do. But how can we help them with Tao healing and Tao wisdom? Soul communication. This has been applied multiple times with a very high level of success with radiation and chemotherapy. Does radiation have a soul? Does chemotherapy have a soul? Yeah. And so the people have said, dear the soul of this radiation treatment, could you please only radiate those cancerous cells, not harm my good cells? I'd be very grateful. The nurses are stunned. The people come back and they're like, how is it possible you don't have any radiation burns? You're recovering like 5 times faster than everybody else. What happened? They talked to the soul of the radiation. That's what they did. Did the same thing with chemotherapy. No side effects. It worked fine. No negative side effects. No puking. None of the chemotherapy side effects because they talked to the soul of the chemotherapy. Everything has a soul. Everything is trying to serve. You think the soul of the chemotherapy wants to poison people? It wants to serve them. What about a negative thought? Is it trying to serve you? Yes or no? Absolutely it is. But it's a negative thought. It's telling me that you suck. You're bad. How is that trying to serve me? What's the purpose of every soul? To serve. How is it trying to serve me? To give you an opportunity to transform its origination. It's in your vibrational field for a reason. It doesn't want to stay there forever. It's got a path. It's got to grow as well. Dear the soul of this negative thought, I love you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to transform you. Let's work together. Let's do forgiveness. Maybe I've said negative things and put other people down, and that's why this negative thought keeps staying in my vibrational field. I'm going to do forgiveness. I'm going to apply Master Sha wisdom and do forgiveness with other souls that maybe at some other point in time, maybe I or my ancestors said these same kind of negative things to you. You'll never amount to nothing, da-da-da-da. Please forgive me if I've ever said those things to you. Pretty soon, that negative information leaves your field. That soul served you well, didn't it? Soul communication will change your world. It can predict your life. Your soul follows spiritual principles and laws. Your soul is eternal. Your soul yearns to reach enlightenment. And as I said, the soul is the boss. So when we move to soul communication, when we start realizing that we can resolve just about anything by dealing with it at the point of origination, at the level of soul, there's very, very little in our life that can't get better. Doesn't matter what your story is. We could all write a novel on, how difficult our life is, how difficult our story is. And it is a marathon. It's not a race. It is something that takes time. You can't just do one soul communication and with your roommate that's not so pleasant, and then walk out of your room with a smile on your face, and your roommate might still be the same cantankerous person. Doesn't mean it's going to work instantly. It does work. It takes a little bit of focus and a little bit of practice and recognition. Why is that roommate not so fun? Maybe you are not so fun as a roommate at some point that you don't know about. Right? Maybe they're trying to serve you by getting you out of the house so you can go be with somebody you need to be. Sometimes we have that with relationships, right? We want that pure, loving relationship, the one that makes my heart sing. Yay! But we keep getting this, you know, but when we met them, they made my heart sing. And now it's like, what happened? Well, they could be the right one. Certainly possible. But the thing about a relationship, doesn't matter if it's a kid or a spouse, they're trying to serve us. And when you have this wisdom, you can heal that relationship. And the best thing about healing a relationship, if it's a kid and a parent, or if it's a spouse, the best thing about it is no matter what direction it goes, if it goes towards the better or if it just goes in different directions, it got resolved. That's the key. Because if it goes different directions and then you're both on a neutral plane, that's a whole lot better. Because guess what you're going to do next time around? It's not going to go away. You want to resolve it through soul communication. Bring it back to neutral. That person that you think you've forgiven, but when you see them, you're like, you haven't forgiven them. You've just learned to ignore it so you don't have to deal with it. Okay, there's a difference between forgiving and forgetting. So when you truly forgive them and you see them and you only have the greatest wish for them and you're grateful for the lessons you've learned and the wisdom and the opportunity to clean that one up so you never have to do that again, but you truly are grateful, that's when you clean that one up. And that's when you find your true soulmate also, by the way. So those people that come to our world that kind of mess with us and the times that they, get rid of them and then another one comes and messes with us, guess what? That's on your vibrational field. People love you so much, they're trying to help you. How do you approach it? Are you the victim? Or are you the one that's awake? Are you the one on the soul journey? Right? So, the program covers so much more. But again, that's the bigger picture. In the first, the program is, I said, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 4 weeks. The first one is called the Foundational Series. And looks like this. Develop your foundational energy centers. So now that I've made this week 1, the lower Dantian has moved now to week 2. So I cover lower Dantian and the Kundalini Snow Mountain area. Talk to you about the nature, power, and significance of these energy centers, their relationship to your soul, where they're at in your body, how they connect to your organs, how they connect to your chakras, how they connect to your systems. When you empower them, what do they do for you? How is that associated with, how are they interconnected? Kundalini is connected to the third eye. Why? How? So much information, ancient wisdom that Master Shah has put in all his books that are condensed here. Heart chakra, message center, very, very important. Number one thing, you want to solve your problems in your life, you want to open your channels, heart chakra. Third eye, everybody wants to see, they want to see God, they want to see angels, they want to see Buddha, they want to see something, because going through this life without seeing anything sucks. I want to see something. Can you please prove to me that you're here, then I'll be good to go. Then I won't question anything, right? Raise your hand if you're like that. That's me. Can I please see something just once? Nothing. Years, nothing. Difficult, man. That's not easy. Seeing nothing. You gotta trust, right? That's what they tell you in the books. Just trust. Yeah, you try trusting. Life is hard. Trust. Just show me something. It'll be easy to trust. No. Not how it works. You'll learn why. You go through the course, you learn why. You can open your third eye. You can see. It's possible. But it's not up to you. You'll learn why. So this is what you learn in the first 4 weeks. Step 2, the next 8 weeks. Develop your foundational energy centers. Week 1, we go into the nature of soul and soul communication. Pretty much what I covered today. Week 2, second chakra. Then we go first chakra, second chakra, third chakra, all the way up to 6 chakras. And then week 8, Shen changing channels. But notice on the right-hand side, what did we also do in week 2? We start to open your soul language if it's not been opened. And we start communicating with your soul in week 1, 2, and 3. We do direct soul communication practices. Week 4 and 5, we start talking to your heavens teams. Whether you know it or not, you have beings of light all around you. You have a team, right? It's like a bowling ball team, right? Or you know, you have a team. You have a baseball team all around you. Everybody has a team. And our team changes size. And we might come in with like 4 or 5 on our team. Maybe great-grandma's with us, watching over us, and this saint's over here watching over us. Maybe a well-known saint's with you, watching over you. And then as you get a little bit older, maybe they change. New ones come in, old ones leave. And if you meet Master Sha, you have more on your team. See, you have teams. When you become a Tao Hands healer, your team goes, wow, all of a sudden you have like 1,000 people on your team. Okay? And these souls can help you. They can help you to transform your life. But if you're not communicating with them, they're going to hang out there in heaven and do their thing. But if you're talking to them, if you're giving them love, offering them your food, you're having soul, asking them their guidance, now they're with you, protecting you, they're guiding you, they're part of you. What's the purpose of every soul? Is to serve. If you're down here in this third dimensional experience completely ignoring them, are you benefiting their soul journey? We can't serve you. How does a soul get elevated? How does a soul rise up, move towards enlightenment? One answer: service. Because we're all one. We're just uplifting each other. I uplift you, I'm naturally uplifted. Vice versa. So when we give those beautiful souls on our heavens team a chance to serve us, guess what? They're uplifting. They're happy to serve. We got to remember them. Then we start talking to the source. So in the 8-week series, we're going to talking to our own soul, talking to our Shifus and heavens teams, and then talking to the source. And you learn how to differentiate between them, which is a very important part of the teaching. You learn how to clearly, is this me or is this my mind? Am I making this up? You learn about that. You learn to hear. Your soul has a different energy, feel, tone than your heavens teams. Your heavens teams could be male, could be female, could be, different energy, right? And then the source, definitely different energy when you hear the source. And when we go into the ending of that course and into the final 4 weeks, I start training you to communicate with things that are not necessarily saints, right? Like you heard me do a flow from the course of this course. I've asked about a healing, and the soul of the calligraphy comes to it. I didn't ask the soul of the calligraphy to come. I just, what happened in this healing? Soul of the calligraphy comes. Starts telling me about when it was born and how it's so happy to serve and da-da-da-da, and all kinds of information I had no clue about the calligraphy. But then it tells what it did. It's like, oh, well, the calligraphy is very proud to serve, right? So when you get to the end of the course, you at least set the foundation for being able to talk to many different souls. You're not going to, create miracles in those 16 or so weeks, but you're going to move light years from where you are today, and you're going to position yourself to be far better off for your future, because you'll start to look at life entirely different. There is no part of your life that you will not look at differently. You'll start to realize that nothing happens accidentally. When something happens in your life that you're not enjoying, you'll no longer auto-respond. You'll second-guess that auto-response and go, how can I approach this differently? How can I solve this at the level of soul? What brought this to me? How is the soul trying to serve me? You'll just approach things very, very differently, because you'll have this new foundation. And that will serve you for life. It's a marathon, not a race. You just start applying this little by little by little. These are all Master Sha wisdoms. I just, teach it in a way where you can actually apply it. So who wants to join the course? Good. It's only $2,000. Just kidding. Everyone's like, click. Done. Good news. It's only $60. Okay? You get next 3 Tuesdays. Same time as you're here now, 7 to 9 p.m. Next 3 Tuesdays. I'm going to cover Lower Dantian Kundalini. Next week, Heart Chakra. Next week, Third Eye. And then we go into the 8-week course. Those are not on Tuesdays. Those pop over to Thursdays. Same time though. And that's a little bit more. It's like $150. But you don't have to make that commitment now. You just do it one at a time. If you like the first one, great. You can move to the next one. Just make one little commitment at a time. So I'll put the links in the chat here. But I want to ask anybody who's attended any of my previous courses, feel free to open the line and share for anybody that's new here. Instead of me just jabbering at you, let them hear from somebody else, and that'll give me a minute to pop something into the chat.
I have a question, Paul.
Yeah,
so what happens if we miss one, or like I have, like next Tuesday, I have business travel?
Then
The recording.
you can never come back to my course again.
What's that?
Then you'll be fired and you can never come back to my course.
Oh, darn it. Okay, well, I better not do it then.
No. Every course is recorded.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, so very often I have students from different parts of the world that it's difficult for them to attend. It is best if you can, but it you know, if you're a good student and you listen and watch into the practices, you get just the same amount out of it. The reason it's a little better if you can attend in person is very simply you can be interactive and ask questions like this.
Yeah. Okay.
For those in the chat, I just dropped in the link for those that want to register. And if you're a member of Dow Center Portland, you do get the 25% off. So then it's like $45. Okay. Other questions or comments, Mercedes?
I have already attended the first requisite, number 1. So I'll be doing the level 2.
Right. That's going to start in July or June.
June, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, of course. I learned something.
That's always good.
Mm-hmm.
Had you taken other courses before, the Open Spiritual Channels?
No, because I have seen that on, on their ads, like, we have but then the schedule doesn't fit to my time. It's in Sydney, so I said no, I can't do that. So I'm not into more on, I don't want recorded. I only want recorded if I have attended the live, and then so I want to go back and see what I missed. So I have to go back to the recorded. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's how I can understand more.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anybody else wish to share? I know, Holly, you wrote something in there if you want to open your mic and share.
Yeah, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
I had a really good experience. I took the Open Your Spiritual Channels classes, and I use that every day. Every day I communicate with whatever soul I need to communicate with, and it's been extraordinarily helpful. I've been able to resolve more than a few issues that normally I probably would have responded to really poorly. Yeah, I mean, and you're right, because I do look at everything completely differently now. And if I am having conflict or I'm feeling irritated about something, that's usually where I choose to go first, is to that person's soul, or write directly to heaven or my heavens teams, or, Shifu's, whatever the case may be. It's been very, very enlightening, to say the least. So yeah, that was my experience. Thank you.
Great sharing. Thank you, Holly. So happy to hear. It does make a difference when you can go directly to the soul. You don't have to deal with the personality. I tell you, it saves a lot of time. People need to learn that one. That's probably one of the greatest wisdoms Master Sha's brought to us. Anybody else want to share anything?
Yes, I'd like to, Paul.
Hi, Vanina.
So to start with, beautiful session, Paul. And you speak so much from your heart, and the way you put up things. I'm so glad so many people from my lovely India colleague team is here. And as you know, usually we have a session at this time. It's so it's not coincidence, right? I had decided today that I had done a recording of my session, and I told Indrajit, by the way, Indrajit is the dentist story that you spoke about. She's very much here. And she was supposed to play the recording on my behalf, for the session. And it didn't work. It just didn't work. And I immediately decided that, okay, guys, why don't you all come here? So whoever wanted to, whichever soul was ready has come here. And I'm sure they're all super happy in dancing souls right now. So that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to share with you, that yes, so much of my life is like, I'm so grateful. I think whatever I am today, I can't thank Master Shah enough. I can't thank you enough, because I started my journey with you for service in true capacity. You know that I always say that. Paul, I'm so grateful, so grateful. I bow down to you. And today I'm like so much into so many things: Canva, creativity, soul communication, everything. And, in my own life, only through soul communication and forgiveness at a soul level, I've come to where I am, because I've resolved, from my side at least, I've resolved a relationship issue, and yeah, I'm still working that. I hope the other soul also awakens. Of course, you always like that, but you can't control that, right? That's that. And then as far as it goes for your course, strongly recommend it for everyone here, especially also for the people who joined from my team, because we just started the book reading. We started reading the book Soul Wisdom. I started taking those sessions, and most of the people who are here along with me are reading with me. So, I was just telling them that Master Shah's books are not just reading, there's so many downloads, there's so much practices. And we're just about started Hey Hanganga Shivangyo and soul language. What is soul language? So I think the timing can't be more perfect. If they're really inclined to learn soul communication, this is the course to go for, and this is the person to learn from. Paul is strongly recommended. He's a wonderful teacher, as you must have just experienced what he is as a human being. It's like, I can't say more. I can't express in words. You're just too awesome, Paul. I love you from my heart and soul. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinita. So are there any questions about joining the course? The link is in the chat. Are there any questions about the course or what the expectations are? Okay. So it may or may not be for you. I encourage, if it feels right, to do it. If you think of anybody, especially if they're a Master Shah student, the way I teach is it's a little bit above beginner, and so it helps if they have some foundation. And the value in it, especially for someone that's already a Master Shah student, is very often they're not comfortable with their spiritual channels. They don't really trust them at this point. And so this gives them a very good, solid opportunity to practice in a small group, get some one-on-one attention. Because when I work with people, I actually, tell them, this is what's going on. You're not really doing it right here. Tweak this, tweak that. Because I can work with them individually, and these minor tweaks help people quite a bit. Often it's not much. It's just, how do I know what the tweaks are? My open channels tell me. This is what you're missing. Do this. So it helps people quite a bit, the smaller group structure. So I want to thank everybody here for coming, and thank you for grabbing that one extra person before you came. And do try to show up next week. I would love to have at least 5 to 10 people in the class. It always makes it more fun. My dilemma is I just get around to doing this advertising late. It is the nature of my job because it stays so busy. But I'd love to see you there, and thank you all for coming. And by the way, anybody who registers for any of the classes can always come through again. Okay, so you might say, oh, I'm going to do this again. I only got so much before. I was only half there, or I had other commitments. I missed half the course. You can come back through again. It's free. Just honor once, come through as many times as you want. So it's actually a popular feature among some of our students. So thank you all for coming. My greatest love to each of you, and we'll see you all very, very soon, hopefully next week. And have a great evening or morning, depending on where you're at in the world. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you, everybody. Love you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.